Today, I'm going to talk about how to heal the father wound. If you don't know what the father wound is, or if you've never heard of it, click the link in the description. There are 5 different steps to healing the father wound, and I'm going to go through each of them right now. The first step is you're going to write a note or a letter to your inner child. First, take some time to think about your childhood and all of the different experiences you had and all of the different things that you might have needed or wanted from your father that you just never got. Grab a piece of paper or maybe a journal somewhere safe and something to write with. And now, using your non-dominant hand. So if you're right-handed, use your left hand, and if you're left-handed, use your right hand. And without judging yourself, without censoring yourself, without worrying about how it looks, spend some time writing a letter to your inner child, letting that little being inside of you, you who went through those experiences, letting them know that as an adult, you not only understand what happened to them, but now you're able to promise them that you're able to be there for them, to support them. Even just acknowledging your inner child in this way and taking some time to honor everything that they've been through starts the healing process. Now, of course, for a lot of us, this is going to take time, some time to think, some time to write. And while we're doing this, a lot of us might get overwhelmed. So we might want to take a break while writing this letter, or even a break while exploring our past. Anytime I work with people around their inner child, there's usually a lot of big, overwhelming feelings. And that's okay, that's natural, that's normal. So just take it slow and make sure that you're taking care of yourself along the way. Don't rush past this first step. The second step to healing the father wound is you're going to want to take some time to get to know your own needs. So many of us get into a pattern of ignoring our needs or of not being able to assert our needs or to meet our needs because we didn't have the attuned father figure that we needed in childhood. We might not have spent much time with our father, or when we did have time with him, his attention might have been somewhere else entirely. Either way, when we don't have the attunement from our father, we learn that our needs don't matter. And so as a result, we end up repressing or ignoring our needs entirely. And if you're like me, you might even be sitting there thinking, needs? I don't even know what my needs are. And that's okay. It really does take time and practice to begin to notice and identify what your needs are. A practical way to begin is to start to do something that's called a self-check-in. Now, a few times a day, you're simply going to check in with yourself. Maybe set a couple alarms on your phone, and when that alarm goes off, you're just gonna notice. You're gonna notice what you're thinking, you're gonna notice what you're feeling in your body, and then you're gonna pause and you're gonna ask yourself, is there anything I need in this moment? This could be as simple as, I need a glass of water, I need a quick stretch, or maybe I need a quick bite because I haven't taken time to have a full meal. This is really just a process of taking the time to check in, to learn what's going on inside of you so that we can become empowered to actually meet that need, regardless of what's going on outside of us. The third step to healing the father wound is you're going to want to practice asking for help or support. And this goes right alongside with getting to know our own needs. Because sometimes we're going to notice that we have a need that we can't meet ourselves. Maybe we're feeling down, we're feeling sad, and we just want someone to listen. Or maybe we need help with something, like at work, or we're looking for someone's actual feedback or their input or their perspective. If growing up we didn't get the help or the support that we needed, or if we were shamed for even needing help or support, asking for help or support can feel really uncomfortable. So let's say when you check in with yourself at your self-check-ins, you might notice all sorts of overwhelming emotions. You might realize that you haven't been sleeping well and that you could use a break. That could be support that you need and can give to yourself. Or you might realize that you need help from someone else. And maybe you can ask your partner or your loved one if maybe they can clean up the kitchen, or maybe they can take some other chore off your plate. These are small practices that can really teach us not only how to know when we need help or support, but how to reach out and get the help or support that we need. The fourth step for healing the father wound is you're going to want to give yourself time and space to process all of your anger and all of your grief. Now, of course, this can be really hard because not only is it uncomfortable, it's really scary for most of us to admit that there were things that we wanted or that we needed and that our father wasn't able to give to us. Having a father who left home or who shut you out, cut you off from the closeness that you needed or that you wanted. So naturally, we feel angry, we feel sadness or grief or loss. The more we practice letting those feelings be there, the more that we validate the experience of our inner child, the reality that they are angry, that they are upset, that they are sad. This will help us both process and deal with the anger and the grief that comes along with our needs not really being met. We want to make sure that in these moments, we're resisting the urge to talk ourselves out of how we feel, to explain it away, to minimize it, and to instead practice simply allowing it. We also want to resist the urge, it's totally natural, to make excuses for our father's behavior and letting ourselves just be with how we feel based on what happened or what didn't happen, regardless if there was a logical or understandable reason for it. And the more you do this, the more you're actually allowing yourself to emotionally process these events instead of ignoring them so that they just end up coming out in our own anger or our own grief or our own sadness later down the line. The fifth and final step to healing your father wound is you're going to want to practice becoming your own best parent. Because of course, the beautiful part of adulthood is that we have so much more power and choice right now. When we were young, how our father behaved and what he did or didn't do had a profound effect on us. And at the same time, we had no choice but to live with it and to adapt to it. Now, however, as adults, we have better tools. We now know so much more, and we can begin to see our parents not as infallible or perfect, but as the actual human beings that they are, with their own flaws and their own struggles, instead of these larger-than-life heroes where we're minimizing our own experience of the reality of them. Now, taking these steps isn't easy and takes time, but with these practices, you really will begin to not only heal your father wound, but you'll begin to create a healthier relationship with yourself and with everyone else around you. I'd love to hear from you along your journey. If you have the father wound and you're practicing this healing, which step are you practicing and what are you noticing? Leave it in the comments below.